Hello, my name is Eugenio from the Reuse company, and I'm going to show the demonstration of the property values consistency metric. The objective of this metric is to know the consistency of the properties of our specification with regard to our system conceptual model. These properties are associated with the terms of our ontology and with the patterns that match with the requirements of the specification. In this slide, we can see one property of the term stored in the system conceptual model and the property which is generated with the pattern. The property of the pattern is composed with the information of the requirement. In this example, this is the requirement, and the pattern generates one property with these attributes: weight, electrical power system, lower, 25, and the measurement units, kilogram. Now we are going to show a demonstration of the configuration and evaluation of this metric. When we have selected a module, we go to Project Configuration, select Consistency, add New Metric, and Property Values. In the configuration of this metric, we add the properties by selecting the terms that include them from the System Conceptual Model tree. In this example, we select PBS. And we select these terms related to the parts of an engine. After that, we select the pattern that must match the requirement. In this case, we select this pattern group that contains the pattern that we analyze the requirements in order to extract the properties. Accept. We can see here the only acceptable value of consistency in the specification is 0. With another value, the quality of the metric will be low. And now we have our metric ready. We are going to recalculate this metric, and we can see that the quality of the metric is low because the score is 60%. Let me show the results of the metric. As we say, the 60% of the requirements involved in the metric have inconsistent property or wrongly defined properties. The other 40% have consistent property, and the number of requirements involved in the metric is 5, that represent the 83.33 of the total number of requirements matching the filter. In this graph, we can see the rate of inconsistent requirements, including the requirements not involved in the metric, either because they don't generate properties or because the properties had not been selected in the configuration of the metric. In this case, the requirement not involved in the metric is 1. In this graph, we can see the consistency accuracy from the system conceptual model. The 33.36% of properties selected in the metric have consistency issue or are wrongly defined. And now we are going to show the inconsistent properties. Okay. This property was generated from this requirement, and the value is 90. The term cylinder head has the same property with this range. We can see that the value of the requirement is not included into the range of the term, so the property of the requirement and the term are inconsistent. We have two inconsistent properties related to the term shell in the head and oil and with this requirement. These are the wrongly defined properties selected in the matrix. The reason why this property is wrongly defined is that the different parts of the range are overlapped. We can see that 100 is included in the second part of the range. This is a wrongly defined property related with this requirement. We can see that these values are inconsistent. These are the consistent property selected in the metric. Here we can see the consistent property related with this requirement. All properties selected in the metric with this option. This is the property found in the specification. All properties found in the specification. And here we can see the properties selected in the metric but not found in the specification. And here the property found in the specification but not selected in the metric. So this requirement is not involved in the metric. Now we are going to show the requirements result. This graph is the same of the first graph of the metric result. Okay, as we saw, these requirements have inconsistent properties and represent the 40% of the requirements involved in the metric. The 20% of the requirements involved in the metric have wrongly defined properties. These requirements have consistent properties, and this is the requirement that is not involved in the metric. Finally, we saw the requirement analysis about filter. In this demonstration, the 100% of the requirements are matching the filter. Optionally, with this button, we can see the general configuration of the metric, and with this other, we can see the configuration of the properties. And here, we can create the report of the result of the metric. Now, we are going to show how to fix an inconsistent property editing a requirement. For example, the requirement number 1, double-click over the requirement, and we can edit this requirement. Here, we can see the consistency issue. And write 150 degrees Celsius. Save the requirement. And now we have to recalculate this metric because the requirement have changed and therefore the previous results are obsolete. Recalculate the quality of the metric, and we can see that the score has changed. And now we can see that only one requirement has inconsistent properties. And there are 3 requirements with consistent properties. This is a requirement that we have edited. Okay, this is the end of the demonstration, and thank you very much for watching.